You'll never hear someone say, I wish I would have waited. You'll never hear someone say, I bought this house, I wish I would have waited 3 years. I've never heard anyone say that. It's still a good time to buy, and it's still a good time to sell, but it has to be done strategically.
So what does this mean for value? Do you believe they're going to decrease? Do you believe they're going to stabilize? Or do you believe they're going to increase anytime soon?
They're not building enough homes, and there's a major shortage in all of America. 90% of realtors don't do all three consistently. Consistency over time, waking up early, coming to the office when you have nothing to do.
A realtor ends up saying, I need to give this guy a shot. I need to give this girl a shot. All right, welcome to the show, Nick Jaafar.
Thank you. Acez, thanks for having me, buddy.
Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
So I've known you for a couple of years now.
Yes, sir.
He's a very successful realtor. You told me that you broke 100 houses last year.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
Big accomplishment.
you.
Was that your biggest year yet?
It was our biggest year.
Biggest year and a tough year.
Yeah.
And you've been with Keller Williams for how long? And how long have you been a realtor?
Been with Keller Williams about 4 years. 7 years as a realtor. It's going on my 7th year.
Where were you before?
I was at a small mom and pop brokerage, Empire Realty Group.
Nice. What made you make the switch to Keller Williams?
The broker and I have a very good relationship, personal relationship. There was never a Keller Williams in Dearborn.
Yeah.
And when he decided to create the Keller Williams in Dearborn, it was a match. I was one of the first 5 agents to join. Now there's about 185.
You're the first 5 in the office.
I think one of the first 5, one of the first 6, yeah.
Yeah. So I know Nick because he helped me buy this house. It's actually a funny story. He was sitting in the basement right down there at the bar, and I walked down here. And this is after I probably gave you a very bad experience for maybe 90 days of house
No, it wasn't
searching.
bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Well, the thing was, my wife wanted a house and I didn't. I was in Dearborn Heights happy, and she's like, let's at least go look. And I'm like, okay, we could go look. And then that turned into houses and taking me out of work early. And I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? I was happy at my house. And Nick is picking us up. Of course, I made him pick us up. Had to save the gas expense for the range.
Yeah.
Had him pick us up every day, taking us to see these houses. And there's always an issue with one. We almost bought 2 of them, a contemporary and
West
another
Bloomfield.
one. And then we backed out last second.
Yeah.
And then finally there was this one that we're sitting in now. And when I walked in the basement, I'll never forget, he was sitting in that chair and he looked so comfortable and so relaxed. And he said, Mabruk, which in Arabic means congratulations. And I said, what do you mean? He said, welcome to your new house. And I felt something when he said that. I'm like, why is he so confident? Why is he saying that? But at the same time, why do I feel like it is my new house? You know? So he nailed it. You nailed me at that point. That was checkmate. You ever watch House of Cards?
Uh-huh.
That was a checkmate right there. That was good work. And we ended up here, man. So it's been a long relationship with you. We've been keeping in touch. I keep in touch with the training. You keep me in touch with the real estate market. And I brought you out here today because I really want to just talk shop. I want to talk what's going on out there. It's 2023. We just seen a surge of the highest values we've ever seen in our lives. We had the rates at the lowest we've ever seen in our lives. It was a great time to invest, which I know me and you got some investment properties we did good on. But right now the question is it still good to buy investment properties? What does it look like? What's your mindset? What's your perception on what's going on this year and where the money should be put at?
So, if you talk to an investor, investors are always looking. People who are savvy investors, they're always looking for a deal that makes sense. Now, last year what you got was with 2% interest rates, no matter the deal, no matter what the price is, money's so cheap that everyone was buying.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of money that was pumped into the market, but really with the interest rates as low as they were, it was not normal. So when you watch the news today, they scare you. I don't watch the news, but sometimes I was sitting with someone last week and you got a notification on CNN and it said interest rates shot up, and it was a scare tactic. And what they don't tell you is, on average, this is a normal market. It really is. Money's not free. It's not at 2%. It probably will never go that low again. So with the market right now, for buyers, if it makes sense, you'll never hear someone say, I wish I would have waited. You'll never hear someone say, I bought this house, I wish I would have waited 3 years. I've never heard anyone say that. There's always something to look for. It is always a good time to invest your money, especially with inflation the way it is. You'd rather have your home in a property than in the bank. In the bank, 100%. You're losing. In a property, over 30 years, on average, over any 30-year period of time, your property will appreciate about 2% per year. It might go down, it might go up, but over the 30 years, it'll appreciate about 2%. Yeah. Now, regarding sellers, last year, if your house is worth $200,000 and you listed at $230,000, you get $260,000. Because why? Money's free. 2%, your payment's so low. Now, if if your house is worth 200,000 and you price it at 210, it's gonna sit. So the savvy sellers, the sellers who realize that if I'm gonna sell, I have a nice house, it's clean, it's prepped, it's marketed correctly, I have the right agent. If it's worth 200, I'm gonna price it at 195, and I'm gonna get more than one offer, because that's still happening. So it's still a good time to buy, and it's still a good time to sell. It has to be done strategically.
Yeah. Now, when you say if it's the right time or if it makes sense, how
Payment.
do you define it for buyers first?
So if you're looking at an investment property, you always want cash flow.
Yeah.
If you're losing, you don't want it.
Yeah.
You want to be cash flow positive immediately.
Okay.
So you're going to say, okay, if I buy it for X, I'm going to put X down. Interest rates are 6%. I might have a 7% with an investment. My payment is this. I can get this much for rent, this much for expenses. And you see if it makes sense. If you're making more than your payment and there's a cushion, it's a good buy.
Yeah, so it's crazy because when I did this, 2 years ago, I was getting 299s on investment properties, 2 units, with a payment of $2,400 and making, $3,300 off of them, making almost $1,000 net minus the management fees and things. But it made sense, right? Now, if I get that same exact property, which I looked at, because I built to, the land is $60,000 more for just the land, and then the property and the construction for a new build is about 80,000-90,000 more.
Mm-hmm.
With the rate, the payment's going to be about almost 1,000 more. So I almost maybe 100 or 200 over break even.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It depends on the area. So if you are, for example, an area where no matter what, it's going to appreciate.
Yeah.
So in different states, in Michigan, we're used to, you want cash flow, cash flow, cash flow.
Yeah.
In other states, growing states, California, Texas, Florida, they don't care. As long as it's going to appreciate,
Yeah.
as long as you're making your payment, you're going to make your money on the appreciation over a few years. And if you really want to, you can refinance, pull out your equity, and either take that cash or reinvest it somewhere else.
Yeah, if you have that equity. I mean, they're saying that this recession, Tony Robbins, I just joined one of his seminars. It was 2-3 hours a day called Unshakable with him live virtually, which is crazy how he does it because he has millions of screens all around him, so he sees everybody at the same time. But he has, access to the wealthiest and the most knowledgeable people out there, and they're saying 8 years.
8 years, what do you mean?
Recession, 8. This is going to last 8 years.
We're currently in a recession.
Yeah, people think it's 2 years, 1 year. It's going to be longer than that. It's going to take a little longer to come back.
Yeah.
So we know rates, from what I hear, what I'm hearing is we're stabilized. The worst we've seen. They're not going to go up to 7.5, 8 like they did a few months back. They almost hit 8%. Maybe they did. We've seen the worst already is what I've heard. And we're going to stabilize. I don't think they're going to go back down like you're saying. I think we're going to stay right around here for a while. That's great. We know where the rates are going. Where are the values going? Because almost everybody that's knowledgeable that I follow say the values are going to decrease by 20, maybe 30%. Nothing crazy, but slightly they're going to decrease because the average American and the average home value right now is 8x multiple of what the average American makes. What that means is people are going to be forced to rent. You see people like Jeff Bezos and Zillow's owner, and they're buying neighborhoods and they have a goal to buy a percentage of residential in the next 5 years. That means they're buying that because they know where the money's going. The money's going to rentals, right? And the money's going to rentals because people are not able to afford to buy. Even people that have houses, I work on the mortgage side, they're going to rent their houses and then go rent a smaller house and save some money off the rent that they're gaining off their house. So what does this mean for value? Do you believe they're going to decrease? Do you believe they're going to stabilize? Or do you believe they're going to increase anytime soon?
So no one knows the future.
Yeah.
No one knows the future, but they're not building enough homes, and there's a major shortage in all of America. Values go down a little bit, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly they can, but it doesn't mean it's a bad time to buy, because if it's a bad time to buy, Jeff Bezos and whoever else you mentioned will not be buying. When it comes to selling, if your value goes down, you don't sell. If values go down, you buy. Either way, it's okay. It's all about how you perceive it.
Yeah, and I think it's similar to what they say about the stock market. They say that there's never a bad time to invest in stocks.
Exactly.
Right? And they did a test, same thing you're saying, over 10, 20, 30 years of somebody that studied the market and bought low and sold high, and a random computer that picked random investments, and it came out almost the same exact return over the long run. So I think that's right in line with what you're saying at the long term, that regardless if it's up or down, you buy a house, you're good in the long run. If you're not thinking short term or flipping or anything.
Correct.
What do you think about flipping right now?
If there's a right opportunity. If there's a distressed seller and it makes sense, we close on a flip today. There's some deals that are out there. Back to your previous point regarding time to buy or time to sell and values, you mentioned that a lot of people are going to be renting. Now, if you're buying a rental income producing property or commercial that has tenants, whether it's residential or commercial, that's based on how much the tenants are paying. And if rent is going to go up or stay the same, your value is not going to go down. Because if you're getting X every month and your expenses are X every month, that's what your property's worth. So regardless of what the news says and what they say, properties went down, your home value went down, all that matters is how much money are you making and how are you cash flowing.
Do you think it'll be better to buy, because I know commercial properties, I think that has bigger risk at falling a lot faster. I'm seeing it left and right. I've been sending them to you, but there's been commercial properties left and right going out, and I think more of them are going to continue to go out. Do you think it'll be a great opportunity this year for commercial properties?
I think a lot of people borrowed a lot of money from the SBA during COVID. It was very easy to access, and you're seeing it now. A lot of them didn't reopen. They took the money. They're upside down. Now that I see being affected a lot. So in residential, you have the forbearance and no payments, but in commercial, people were taking out loans for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some SBA loans were up to $1 million. So in that regard, I 100% agree with you. I think that definitely can have an effect on the market, and it could definitely be a great opportunity for buyers such as yourself.
Commercial.
Correct, for commercial. Correct.
Yeah, I was thinking more of the lines of like, I don't know, does this work if you buy a commercial building? Could you flip it to 10, 20 units, renovate it, and make it a, you know, like a condominium or small apartment unit?
Depending on the zoning, depending on your connections with the city, depending on the master plan of the city, it's very possible. And a lot of people are looking to turn all types of properties into income producing, especially apartment buildings and multifamilies.
Now, the main thing I hear from investors that I talk to is they're scared of the risk of somebody coming into that unit and not paying. And then I keep hearing, I don't know the facts on this, maybe you do, they don't have to make their payments. You can't kick them out for 6 months. There's laws, like they could literally drain you without paying. Is that true?
So it was a lot worse during COVID, during the shutdowns, and when people didn't have to work, it was very hard to get them out. It's a lot more easier now. Those eviction bans have been lifted, so you can definitely get someone out.
How long without paying? Do you know?
We're serving an eviction tomorrow on a commercial property, so the attorney said it should take a few weeks. Should not take long, but
a few weeks is just one mispayment? How many mispayments do they have to make?
That's a great question. It depends on the lease. It depends on if it's commercial or residential. But this property in general was a commercial property. Depending on how courts are handling it, some courts are more backed up than others. So really it's in the hands of the courts more than anything.
But you're saying it shouldn't take longer than 90, 100 days to get somebody out?
What I can say is it was about 6 months, sometimes more, back during the shutdown. It's not as bad as it was. That's something I kind of say across the board.
And what happens to the money you're owed if they get out and they don't pay you and they get evicted? Do you still get that money or is it gone?
It depends how the lease is written up, and it depends how the judge decides. Sometimes the judge will give you a judgment, and it's very important that when you do start a lease with a tenant, it's very important that you have their social security card. You know, you have all the information that if you do get a judgment that you are owed that money, you know how to collect it. It's very important.
Got it. So commercial's going to be good, do you think? Businesses, you think people are going to still spend the same amount of money, still go out for entertainment the same, or do you think that's going to decrease?
I think it's already starting to decrease. I think it's slowed down a lot. People don't go out as much. Like I said, there was a lot of money that was pumped in the economy, not just real estate.
Talk about Airbnbs too. It's not as good as an opportunity as it was before.
Correct.
Because people are slowing down on that as well.
They are.
But I think a unique Airbnb in a unique location is what matters right now.
I agree.
What do I mean by that? My wife took my son and, you know, her friends and their kids to Orlando by Disney World or whatever. And they got an Airbnb, and it was about $500-600 a night. Small house, but inside the house, every single room has a theme. Toy Story room, you know, Rugrats room, this room, that room. All these Disney themed rooms. All it is a paint job and some Fat Hat stickers. And the beds and the covers, you know. Same exact thing you'd get in a regular house. Same exact price you'd pay for the paint. Same exact price you'd pay for the bed. But they were creative. And guess what? The occupancy is like 93%. Why? Because they were creative. Kids want to sleep in Disney themed rooms. The kids are excited. They fight for the rooms. Like, this is what I mean about, you know, being creative. I went to, you know, Bali, Indonesia for my honeymoon. We stayed at the Bubble Hotel. You ever hear about the Bubble Hotel?
I have never.
So you stay at a bubble, and it has a little air conditioning in there. It sucks. It wasn't even a good experience. But I was amazed at how many people were amazed at this experience. And now, I'm not sure if it's up north or what city in Michigan, they made like a treehouse one. Where it's all tree houses.
I seen that.
That's creative, right?
Yeah.
Creativity sells.
It
People
does.
want something that's different. People want something that they could go take a picture. And I say this in business all the time. You got to be creative, even with your social media, what you're doing, right? How you're advertising, how you're talking to clients. It's all about about the experience, right? So I believe the Airbnb market is good if you find a good location and you can be creative. It could be the dumbest thing ever. What do you think if me and you buy a vacant land in up north, we put a bunch of bubbles there? You think we'd sell?
That's not a bad idea.
You know what I mean?
That's not a bad idea.
So there's certain things like this that I think still would do good.
Yeah.
You know, even buying a big piece of vacant land and putting a bunch of RVs there, but nice RVs. You hook them up inside, and it's very cheap to stay there at night. But then in that vacant land, you put a lot of things to do. Like imagine a big carnival, mini Cedar Point for kids, right? That's something I think about. I think about like Yates apple cider mill. I called you. I said, why do I drive an hour and a half for the last 10 years to go to Yates cider mill? And why are they making 20, 30,000 off donuts a day? It's sickening, right?
It is.
God bless them. They're doing it right. They've stamped their name. Is there any other Yates? I don't know. I haven't heard of any that are by here. But I guarantee you, we buy a nice piece of land where you sent me. You know, I think you sent me by Yipsy. What city was it? You sent me a few.
I think by
prices.
Salem.
Buy there.
Yeah.
Get a nice big land and you make something like that, but you make it themed all year long. Like Christmas, I want to take my son to Greenfield Village, right? For the last 3 years, I've wanted to take him. This year, I said I'm doing it early. I booked it 3 months in advance. The only day they had was like December 28th. I book it. December 28th comes around, it's below zero outside. I didn't go.
After Christmas.
I spent $130 after Christmas. I didn't go.
Yeah.
Why isn't there another place that's Christmas themed that I could take my kid? Why isn't there a Halloween? So I thought that was a good investment in Michigan. Investors said I know nothing about that. You know, it is a new market to me. I know nothing about it. It's a lot, right? I mean, to get rides and to get people and characters and apples and workers.
That's you got to get really creative.
Parking lot. It's not being creative. It's just a lot of work. There's a lot of dots and T's need to be crossed and dotted. But I thought that was a good investment. So I mean, what do you think right now? Let's say I have some money right now. Where do I put it this year?
I need to put it in property, whether it's residential or commercial. You stay patient. Very low inventory every year from the end of December until the beginning of March. But property, like I said, over 30 years. On average, 2% appreciation every year over the 30 years. You can't go wrong. It's the only thing. Think about it. You mentioned earlier, if you get stocks and you buy the stock, you hope it goes up. You check it every day. And if it goes up, you don't want to sell. If it goes down, you wish you sold. Real estate, you buy it, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go on with your day, you put a tenant in there, you don't even pay your mortgage. Your tenant pays your mortgage. You don't have expenses. Your tenant pays your expenses. And you get paid. Not only that, the property has gone up. If you know of something other than that to put your money in, let me know. I'm in.
No, I don't know anything that catches my mind right now. So we did business together, right? I've worked with other realtors in the past that I haven't done business with. Right now I've been training realtors, and I feel like realtors have a big opportunity in advising over selling. We're talking right now about advising. We're not talking about, hey, I want to get a house. I have 100,000. This is what my wife wants. Could you find me this house? That's like level 1 of realtors, right? Level 2 is what? You ask me, what's your end goal? Right? What are you trying to accomplish? And I say, I want to own 10 houses, free and clear, and I want to collect $25,000 a month in rent, pure cash, and I want to be able to do what I want after that, and live my passions and live my dream. And then you tell me, have you wanted any commercial properties? I say, I've always wanted a hookah lounge, and I've always wanted a spa, and I've always wanted the 8 cider mill, something like that. You write these down on a board, and you make a file called ACE, and you put, he wants a vacant land for this, he wants a spa with this is the requirements, he wants a hookah lounge and a bar with this, and he wants to own 10 homes in Arizona, Florida, Michigan, whatever it is, right? Airbnb creative locations. What happens after that?
Well, my advice was to you.
No. What happens for you as my realtor after that? Or somebody on your team? How do you train them to follow up with me?
So the key is to follow up. But the first thing is laser focus on the first one. What's most important? Is it the homes, in-state, out-of-state? Is it the hookah lounge? Is it the cider mill?
Okay.
Because when you're focused on so much, you're not focused on anything. Yeah. That would be my advice.
Well, what I would tell you is that I'm ready to invest in any one of them. They're all equally important. And I would go with the one that fits. I came in this basement and it fits. I'm sure there'll be something else that comes in the picture and it fits. So what if I wanted the best investment opportunity, and here's my scenarios I'm looking for?
So my question to you is, what is your time like? Because I know we were talking earlier, and with everything you're doing, your time's pretty tight, correct? Unless you partnered with an active individual or someone who has some skin in the game and is taking a risk with you, the spa is going to be pretty labor intensive. I would put that as the second. That you mentioned that the cider mill there's a lot of moving parts there. You got to grow.
That one should be less.
That's the last one.
Because that one's the most complex.
Exactly. Second one, if you can partner with someone who has some skin in the game on the spa, I think that's the second best. None of your schedule does not conflict with the hookah lounge. When you're working during the day, the hookah lounge is open mostly at night. You have the right idea. I think that's most ideal. I think it takes patience to get the right location. We've sent you a few over the past few years. It didn't fit, but I think where you are at right now with your family, with your life, work, I think that's the most ideal situation. So now for someone else who has experience in the spa business, that's a no-brainer. That's what you should do because you have a great idea, but what makes most sense?
So my thing is, and this is not even with you, all right, but with many realtors out there that I train and I audit, they don't advise. Like, I'm not going to buy a spa or a hookah lounge unless you push me to buy a spa or a hookah lounge. Therefore, you're not my realtor. You are my investment banker. You're my realtor. You could be my therapist if I need you to be. You should be a friend. You should be an advisor. Like, that's what I look at. And even me as a mortgage banker, I wasn't a mortgage banker. You know how many people I've talked to about real estate and pushed them to buy a vacation home or a second home or investment home, and now they have 3, 4. You know how many people I talked to that they told me their dream was to open up a hot dog stand, own a restaurant, and I pushed them to take cash out and do that, and they send me pictures now inside of there. And one guy has 6 hot dog stands. Like, that's things I did as a mortgage banker that nobody else did. That was my competitive advantage. I find realtors don't have that competitive advantage. And I'm not speaking about you. I'm speaking about the majority that I talk to. And I've been inside 6 shops so far. And I see that it's very surface level. If I was a realtor, right, I would send myself weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly if it's depending on the urgency. And I'd say, hey, spa, here's the spas. Hookahs, here's the hookahs. Here's the houses. Here's the Airbnbs. Here's what I think the top 3 are. Here's the one that I need you to look at tomorrow morning. If I don't answer that email, you should call me and say, hey, you probably didn't see your email. I need you outside tomorrow morning at 9. Like, this is the kind of urgency that I respect. So I'm like, if Nick wants me outside at 9, there's something important. Let me go see it.
Right.
I go see something, it fits, and then I take it. If I didn't see this house that one day and I was busy at work and you didn't push me and tell me I need to be here, maybe this house would have sold and I would have still been in Dearborn Heights.
Maybe.
You know? So I find that there isn't a lot of realtors. Could you say honestly in your shop or with realtors you know that they're actually advising and pushing people to make decisions to push them to financial freedom or to accomplish their goals? Are they even getting that deep with people?
No, they're not. A lot of people, and it's unfortunate. So 90% of the real estate is sold by 10% of the real estate agents.
Okay.
So
how does that work?
It's
with
really
the dinosaurs that have been in the game for a long time?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes you have, there's a guy on our team, Zach. We just made a post about him today, and Zach did $4 million in his first year.
Yeah.
Those are some serious numbers.
And how did you generate that business? Was it mostly referral based or where?
Yeah, so our team, 94% of our business in 2022 was repeat or referral. So, and he's a people person. Mm-hmm. He cares. He gets to the office early, and he puts his clients first and getting paid last. When you do that and you put the clients first and you do not worry about getting paid, that's when your business gets taken to the next level. And that's something we live by on our team.
So you think that's the most important thing?
Very important. Like you said, advise.
Well, that's not advising, that's putting your client first, focusing on client service, not being money hungry.
Right, but
being patient with your people.
So especially in the commercial world, we look at ourselves, I don't call myself a real estate agent, broker, I call myself a real estate advisor. So we think alike in that regard. I look at a client and I say, so you own this business. Something's going to happen one day where you're going to want to sell. Issue with a partner, another venture, sometimes divorce. Sometimes you want to build the business up, you want to profit it. Then it's my job to advise you. It's not my job to sell you. Sell. That's not what we do. When it's time to sell and you come to me for advice, I'll advise. This is what we should do. We should do this, take steps 1, 2, and 3, and move forward. And that's what we're here for. We're here, like you said, checking up, being an advisor. When the time comes, we're here.
So I believe you should create that time as well. I mean, a lot of clients that I've helped move forward on different deals in different industries wouldn't have moved forward if I didn't push them to move forward.
Right.
Did I push them because I was a sleazy salesperson?
Yeah.
No. I pushed them because I knew enough about them to know what the right decision is.
Right.
And I know humans fear making decisions.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you got to push somebody to make the right decision.
100%.
Right? I was pushed to get this house. It was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you and my wife, I would have never been in this house.
Yeah.
If it was me by myself with a different realtor, not married, I wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
That's the truth, right? Now it's my dream house. 1.5 million if anybody wants it. No lower than that.
1.5. Woo.
That's what I would have got last year.
Whoa.
I got offered 1.2, 1.3.
Really?
Yeah, from people.
It's a beautiful house. You did an amazing job with that.
So I can't leave it. But I still think there's another level. There's a level of you saying, hey, come outside. There's a level of you sending me weekly emails. There's a level of you saying, like, hey, I know that you don't like restaurants. You're not in the business. This Big Boys is self-sustainable. It has good paperwork. Why don't you come check it out? Even something I'm not looking for, but it's a good investment. Why don't you show me it? I'm not looking for a flip. But if you call me, like you just sold a flip, why didn't I get a phone call and say, hey, there's a great flip opportunity. I know you never did it. I'll help you through it.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of level of service I'm talking about. To get to the top level of a realtor is when you're pushing and advising people to make decisions that they never thought about making, but you're supporting them through it and you're helping them make money through it and you're helping them make good decisions. And I think that 90% of realtors are not doing that.
I agree.
How do we get them to do that besides coming to Acez Academy?
My coach has the 4 highest sales in the history of the MLS. So if you go on the MLS, you look up commercial and you look up the 4 highest sales, 9 million, 12, 21, 26 million. He represented the buyer and seller on 3 of 4 of those. In his career, he was with Prudential Real Estate and they started, offering him offices to take over and run. And he had a team at the time in a small office and he started taking on these other offices. And what he came to the conclusion is not everyone wants to be that 10%. It's the reality of the situation. Not everyone wants to be that 10%.
Not that they don't want, they don't have it in them.
It doesn't interest them. It doesn't interest them.
It's hard work. It's
It
not
is.
easy to build
It
a
is.
bunch of processes and do all the extra work that nobody else is doing. That's why 10% is 10%, right?
Correct.
Of the wealthiest.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to get them there. What would your advice be to a new realtor starting? I know there's a lot of realtors, I feel like they're coming in and coming out very fast. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Retention is very low.
Especially in this market.
What would be your advice to a new realtor, maybe listening to this and saying like, should I get into it? Should I not? Or maybe they're starting. What's your advice to them?
Number one, you have to do it full time. A lot of people say, I'm going to do it on the side. No. It was hard last year when interest rates are 2%. It's impossible now. We come from a mindset of abundance. There's enough for everybody. Anyone who says, no, there's too many realtors, there's enough deals for everybody, there's enough business for everybody.
Now, you could be that top 1% of the realtors is a question. Or top 10%. I always tell people there's a lot of realtors, there's a lot of everything, there's a lot of average everything.
Yes, there is.
So
you're
if
100%
you differentiate,
right.
then you could go anywhere. There's never a lot of anything if you separate yourself.
100%. One of my mentors told me my first week in real estate, and he was very successful. I said, what's the key? He told me, wake up, go to work, answer your phone. 90% of realtors don't do all 3 consistently. Consistency over time, waking up early, coming to the office when you have nothing to do, learning, getting a mentor, creating good habits from the beginning, and you'll be fine. It's not that hard.
What are the top 3 habits for a realtor?
Prospect, deal with buyers, sellers. Your only job as a realtor is to talk to buyers, sellers, negotiate contracts, and keep deals together. That's it. Everything else should be delegated. You should have an assistant immediately when you start in real estate. Talk to buyers, talk to sellers, negotiate deals, keep deals together, and nothing else. If you time block a few hours, especially in the beginning of your career, if you time block that time and put your head down and focus and call people, it doesn't even have to always be about real estate. How many times did I call you? I don't ask you, hey, you're looking to buy or sell? No, I just call, check up. And who do you think of when it comes to real estate?
You.
So that's a very important thing. Getting to work early, even when you don't have anything to do, and finding a good mentor. So dollar productive activities is number 1. Getting to the office early, even when you have nothing to do. And number 3, finding a mentor. So that could be getting a coach.
It could be you. That could be me.
Could be you. Absolutely. Acez Academy.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
What's
mentor.
the biggest tip I taught you?
Follow up and be creative. Follow up and be creative. And it's always good to, and the good thing about you is a lot of coaches, they're out of the game. The good thing about you is you're in the game every day. So it's not like you're coaching and you have no experience. Not only you have experience, not only you're good at it, you do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like an on-field coach.
Yeah, which is special. That's good you mentioned that. I just had a training today for over 100 people. These brokers are struggling with getting realtors like yourselves business. I gave them a training today, and I said the concept of the training was find out what's valuable to the realtor, become omnipresent to that value, provide value to it so consistently that realtor ends up saying, I need to give this guy a shot. I need to give this girl a shot. For example, I call you, you tell me you have a great lender, they give you very low rates, and they send you referrals. So I'm like, all right, you have very low rates and you have referrals. What's one thing I can make better for you? You tell me communication. You want more communication. So what do? I get you the lowest rates. I start sending you deals, but then I share all my communication with you. At the end of the day, I say, hey, Nick, here's a recap of all my communication to my clients, closing, in process, didn't buy, shopping, this, that. You're like, wow, this guy sent 28 emails today. And I do that every single day for 3 weeks. Hey, Nick, here's some email templates I made. Share them with your team. Next week, hey, Nick, I'm doing a training on keeping up with the process. Let me know if you want to invite your lender to it. If I do that 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks in a row, and I keep providing value value to you, to the communication, I believe I can end up getting your business. So I told them, you already have a main chick. We need to fight to be the side chick. And then as a side chick, we got to fight to be the main chick and kick the main chick out because the side chick's creating more value than the main chick. That's the way I see it. I think the majority go like, hey, send me a deal, send me a deal, send me a deal, give me a shot, give me a shot. Everyone's saying that. What am I going to send you a deal for?
Everyone's saying the same thing.
Yeah. And none of these brokers even asked me to be on my channel to talk to the realtors I train. Like, why didn't one of them call me and say, hey, I know you're training realtors. You mentioned that last week. Could I come out to that training and sit in with you and just network? So I feel like that's what they're missing. And that's what I talked to them about today for a good hour. I gave them all these methods about doing things. I even said like, I got somebody, man, you're good. You know what, Nick? Give me all your denied clients for last year. Maybe I can make something happen. Hey, Nick, give me everyone that's not ready. Maybe I can help them get ready. Give me all your bad credits. Let me see what I could do with them. Let me take your recycle bin and try to create some value from it. So I was talking to them about those kind of things, creating a competitive advantage by doing the things that nobody else is doing besides asking to get a shot, get a shot, get a shot. But what's your advice just in general for brokers trying to get realtors business? They're struggling with it. They don't answer their quick conversations. They don't answer their emails, their texts, their voicemails. They go out to lunch, they don't get calls back. What's your advice to these brokers on getting referral business?
Well, if they do exactly what you just advised, it's almost impossible that that person's not going to use them. If communication is important to me and you communicate and you tell me you communicate and you ask me what you can do to help, what am I going to tell you? You're just asking me a question. Okay. I can't get mad at you. And a very important thing you mentioned is something we live by. If someone's working, they say we have a realtor, we don't try to tell them, don't work with that person. No. That's fine. We're okay. Just like you said, we wait by the net. We wait by the net. One of my mentors told me, just wait by the net.
And keep showing up.
Just keep showing up, but wait by the net and wait till you get a rebound, just kick it in.
Yeah.
You just gotta wait by the net because eventually that broker will make a mistake and that realtor is gonna be upset. That's when you have your chance. And when you stay consistent, when you're always around, that's a big deal. Okay. You're at the right place at the right time. A lot of our clients were someone else's clients before. We didn't argue with. We just provided value. No problem. If there's anything we can ever do, you just let us know.
Yeah, never burn a bridge.
No, never burn a bridge.
You never know when you need to cross it.
Exactly. And we didn't ever push them to not work with this person.
Yeah, never shit talk your competition.
No, for what? There's enough business for everybody, but when that person messes up, guess what they're going to call? They're going to call us or
what
whoever.
Do you think if I become a realtor tomorrow?
I think you'd be phenomenal.
Would I fucking eat the market or what?
I think you'd be phenomenal. You have the right attitude. I think you'd be phenomenal.
Should I do it?
You should.
You want me on your team?
I'd be honored.
VP?
What would we call it?
Acez Jaafars. Last thing. So you said that I have nailed it on the things they should be doing. What's 3 things they should stop doing? How about that?
If I'm a banker, don't say number
if you're
one.
a realtor and the banker's calling you, broker's calling you, what do they need to stop doing?
The banker's got to stop saying, oh, I know you have a guy. You're already like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to tell you? If I can't tell you how many people tell me, say, oh, I know you send your business to these 3 people, but, you know, it's already defeated.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you talk to someone who's confident.
Wait, so it's funny. So I actually have an opposite view on that. I usually say, like, start with the objection. I know you send your business to somebody. I'm not trying to get your business today. Then I go into.
But they don't say the second part.
Oh, okay.
They just feel defeated and
they
say, hey,
do it as defeated.
if you know, let me know.
I do it as a diffusal. Like, I'm not trying to waste your time here. Keep that. But let me tell you what I do.
That would be good.
Okay.
That'd be good.
What's the second thing?
Don't sell yourself. No one likes to be sold ever. We're in sales. I don't ever sell anyone anything. Like I say, people don't like being sold, but they like shopping with friends. If I have a banker who's just my friend, he's not asking me for business. He's asking how he can help, and that's it. And he's just building a normal relationship, human interaction. Then of course I'm going to use them. It's just people like shopping with friends. They don't like to be sold. Mm-hmm. Just shop with friends. Be someone's friend. That's it. Yeah. The first thing, don't automatically assume that they have a lender and they're only going to use that lender. Number 2, don't sell yourself. Everyone can do what you're going to say.
If somebody doesn't know you and they call you, how are they going to be a friend right away? They don't even know you.
Ask what you can do to provide value. Okay. Just ask.
That's what I say. What's one thing you need help with? What's one thing I could help with?
What's
one opportunity you see?
That's it.
Any last words of success for anybody out there? We call this show Shotcast. If you had to give one shot of inspiration for everybody listening, one thing that's brought you to your success today, just universally, what would it be?
Write down your goals, look at them every single day, and wake up as early as you can. That's it.
I like it. Sounds cliche, but it works. What time do you wake up today?
4:45.
What time are you waking up tomorrow?
Probably 5.
You gonna text me?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Nick Jaafar, ladies and gentlemen, Keller Williams, over 100 deals closed last year, doing a phenomenal job. Thank you for being on the show, sir.
Thank you.
It's an honor. Instagram handles everything down there. Follow him. If you're a realtor listening, perfect team to go to, perfect person to get advice from, and come out to the academy so we can show you how to be that top 10%. Thank you.
Acez Academy.
Yes, sir.